Ahead on NewsWatch, Donald Trump may be leaning toward a Secretary of State with close ties to Russia, while many in Washington are raising red flags over that idea. Plus, an unthinkable decision: pay a ransom to ISIS or never see your family members again. We'll show you how one bishop stirred the global church to action. And it was used in the ancient Jewish temple, and now it is making a comeback. See how one farmer caught a vision for the balm of Gilead and how his plan is flourishing. Thank you so much for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm Ephraim Graham. Mounting speculation today over who President-elect Donald Trump will choose to fill the remaining positions in his cabinet. Concern coming from Democrats and Republicans over Trump's reported choice for Secretary of State. Caitlin Burke is on this story.
Nothing is official until Donald Trump makes it so. But sources close to the president-elect say ExxonMobil CEO Rex Tillerson will be his pick for Secretary of State.
To me, a great advantage is he knows many of the players, and he knows them well. He does massive deals in Russia.
Ties with Russia may be a selling point to Trump, but some lawmakers on both sides of the aisle are calling it a major red flag.
I have obviously concerns of reports of his relationship with Vladimir Putin, who is a thug and a murderer.
In 2013, only a year before Russia's annexation of Crimea, Putin awarded Tillerson the Order of Friendship.
I've known him since 1999. And I have a very close relationship with him.
Trump's potential Secretary of State choice comes even as the Washington Post reports there are renewed concerns by the CIA about Russian interference in favor of Trump in the U.S. election. But Trump told Fox News that was, quote, ridiculous. Trump's incoming chief of staff, Reince Priebus, also rejects allegations of Russian hacking and interference.
The RNC was not hacked. But look, the Russians didn't tell Hillary Clinton to ignore Wisconsin and Michigan.
Priebus goes on to say that Clinton lost the election because she had bad ideas and didn't fit the electorate. Another cabinet position still under speculation, Energy Secretary. Texas Governor Perry is said to be in the running for that, as well as Democratic Senators Joe Manchin from West Virginia and Heidi Heitkamp from North Dakota. Dallas investor and former Republican National Finance Chairman Ray Washburn is in the running for that as well. But with Trump having filled out many of the key positions in his cabinet, the biggest question remains about who he will choose for Secretary of State. Caitlin Burke, CBN News.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says he hopes to work closely with President-elect Donald Trump to undo the 2015 Iran nuclear deal. In an interview with 60 Minutes Sunday, he said Trump's support for Israel was clear. He also mentioned his differences with President Obama over Iran.
He feels very warmly about the Jewish state, about the Jewish people, and about Jewish people. There's no question about that. I had differences of opinion with President Obama, and most well-known, of course, is Iran.
Netanyahu also said there are, quote, various ways of undoing the Iranian nuclear deal. Islamic State militants have recaptured the ancient city of Palmyra from Syrian troops. It's a major victory for ISIS, coming at a time when many thought the Islamic radicals were on the retreat. Islamic State militants were driven out of Palmyra by Syrian and Russian forces 9 months ago. A Russian spokesman said many of the Islamic State fighters involved in the Palmyra assault had recently fled from the Iraqi city of Mosul. Egyptian President El-Sisi declared a 3-day mourning period after a bomber struck a Coptic church in Cairo Sunday. It is one of the worst terror attacks in recent history against Christians there. As Chris Mitchell reports now from Jerusalem, at least 25 people were killed, with nearly 50 wounded.
Eyewitnesses said a woman planted a bag filled with more than 25 pounds of explosives inside the church. The explosion ripped through St. Peter's, located next to the main Coptic cathedral. This man said the columns were smoldering, people strewn on the floor and on the walls. Everything was broken. Most of the dead were women and children at a Sunday service. One eyewitness said they were children. What have they done to deserve this? I wish I had died with them instead of seeing these scenes. The Coptic Orthodox Church released a statement on its Facebook page saying in part, "As we are bereaved by this violence and terrorism that attacks worshipers, we pray for these martyrs and for the wounded." The Egyptian church stresses on preserving national unity that keeps all Egyptians on Egypt's blessed land. After the attack, demonstrators gathered. They protested against terrorism and demanded national unity. Coptic Christians make up about 10% of Egyptians, and the bombing demonstrated the danger they face. For example, in 2013, CBN News reported that the Muslim Brotherhood burned a number of churches, Christian businesses, and even an orphanage. President El-Sisi said a religious war is being waged and vowed to hunt down the attackers. The Coptic Pope Tawadros plans to return from a state visit to preside over the funerals of more than 24 Christians. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
At least 160 people are dead after a church roof collapsed onto worshipers in Nigeria. The final death toll is expected to grow from the accident. People from Rainers Bible Church said the building was still under construction when it was filled with worshipers to ordain a bishop Saturday. Metal girders crashed along with the iron roof caving in. The state government is planning to investigate if the building standards were compromised. A winter storm is sweeping across the Northeast and Great Lakes. Snow and freezing rain are slamming the region today, and winter storm warnings have been issued. Over the weekend, the storm dumped more than 6 inches of snow on at least 8 states, causing major problems on the roads, including a 33-car pileup in Flint, Michigan. In Detroit, a flight skidded off the runway. All 70 passengers on board are safe.
Did a good job keeping everyone calm and got us all off the plane in an orderly fashion. People on the ground were awesome too, helping you off the plane and on the bus, off the bus, telling you exactly where to go. So they did a good job.
At Chicago's O'Hare Airport, more than 1,000 flights have been canceled. A new battle over Christmas is playing out in Knightstown, Indiana. The American Civil Liberties Union is suing the town because it put up a Christmas tree in the city square with a Latin cross on top. The Indianapolis Star reports one local resident was upset about the cross. He wants monetary damages and a declaration that the Christmas display violates the First Amendment. The town does not have any other holiday decorations in the city square. There's a new microchip that can be used to buy or sell, and it can be implanted or worn as a ring. The device can store business, financial, and biometric information. It was developed by a multinational company called Etisalat, based in the United Arab Emirates. According to Newsweek Middle East, the device also allows people to share whatever information they choose, either personal or financial, with someone else who also has the ring, simply by tapping the two rings together. Gulf News reports the chip is approved by some European countries, but it won't be mass-produced as a product just yet. Coming up, ISIS came and stole their family members away. See the unbelievable challenges these Christians overcame to rescue their relatives. Operation Blessing is helping a community in Zambia get clean water from a new well. After failed attempts from a relief organization to drill for safe water, Operation Blessing stepped in. They installed a filtration system as well, making sure the water is safe to drink. More than 200 orphans will no longer have to walk miles to get water thanks to that well. Operation Blessing also provided new shoes and eyeglasses for children and the elderly in the community. You can always find out more about Operation Blessing and what it's doing to help people by going to its website, that is ob.org. Well, imagine loved ones kidnapped by a brutal group of terrorists, and you have to make a choice: pay a ransom to the terrorist or leave your family members at their mercy. A community of Syrian Christians faced that horrible choice last year. Gary Lane has their story.
In February 2015, Islamic State jihadists seized control of several villages around Tal Tamr in Syria's Khabur Valley. In the process, they kidnapped 226 Christians. Abdo Marza was among those abducted.
They came to the village in military vehicles like an army you could not resist. They came knocking on each door. They took us out and put us all in one house. Then they took us one by one to each house to search it. They destroyed all the crosses and the pictures of the Virgin Mary.
Late last year in Lebanon, reporter Abigail Robertson and I met with several of the distraught family members as they discussed efforts to secure the release of their loved ones. At that time, they did not want their comments to appear in a story because they feared their kidnapped family members would be killed. We've covered the adult faces now to protect their identities. Their faith remained firm, and they prayed God would release their family members from the clutches of ISIS. California-based filmmaker Sargon Saadi visited his homeland to document the efforts of families like these and Christians around the world to buy back the kidnapped Assyrians. Ransoms were paid to ISIS in violation of international law.
We don't regret breaking this law, especially when the governments are not doing anything about it. They're just putting guidelines on us. It's like, well, how about the lives of these people?
Saadi visited some of the villages raided by ISIS. They were abandoned like ghost towns. After news got out about the beheading of 21 Coptic Egyptians in Libya, Christians feared ISIS would do the same to the 226 abducted Assyrians. In September 2015, ISIS released a video showing 3 Christian men in orange jumpsuits shot by their captors.
It was unbelievable to watch. It was unbelievable to conceive that our own Assyrians on camera being executed in such a barbaric way in 2016, 2015. And it was unbelievable. And at that point, everybody, we're going to get them out in any way, shape, or form. We don't care about laws or rules that other people say about us. We can't fight them. Assyrians don't have an army to go and rescue them.
Church leaders established a bank account for receiving ransom payment donations. The cost of buying back each Christian was reported to be $50,000. Ransoms were paid, and little by little, by Easter 2016, all of the remaining kidnapped Christians were freed.
And the big philosophical question is are we supposed to pay ransom for hostages? Is that going to encourage them to do even more of these horrible acts? Is that a good thing in the long run? Probably not. It's probably not a good thing. But when you're in that situation, at that time, you don't have much time to think about the ethical and the moral risks that brings. You just do it.
Taking action the only way they could to save the lives of their suffering loved ones. Gary Lane, CBN News.
Up next, a farmer making the desert bloom with an ancient crop said to be more valuable than gold. See exactly how he's doing it. The Bible speaks of the balm of Gilead, a plant in the ancient Holy Land. It was used as medicine and cosmetics and for worship in the Jewish temple. Well, now, as Chris Mitchell reports, a modern-day Israeli farmer is reviving that biblical agriculture.
Meet Guy Ehrlich, visionary, farmer, and possible provider of plants needed for incense for a future third temple.
This is the Balm of Gilead farm. This is the nursery. The vision was to grow the Balm of Gilead and then to make an industry out of it.
Ehrlich's still in the early stages, but already he's helping turn the desert green on a tract of land near the Dead Sea and Jericho.
Over the years, I built a collection of rare biblical and medical plants, and I understood that there are some very interesting plants in my collection that have a huge potential to benefit humanity.
It started with the balsamone tree, better known as the Balm of Gilead. For 1,000 years, ancient Hebrew farmers in this area were the only ones known in the world to cultivate this exotic plant. They used it for medicinal and cosmetic purposes. Now Ehrlich's biotech venture is reviving that trade and more.
He knew how to make out of it the most important medicine of the ancient world, a perfume that was considered to be the best perfume in the Roman Empire. It says it's the first ingredient of the incense of the Holy Temple, and since the Second Temple period, it says it was the anointing oil of the kings of Israel. At the 6th century, it disappeared from here together with the Jewish people.
Ehrlich got his first plant from a shoot that was smuggled by a German scientist out of Saudi Arabia and brought to Israel. Oddly enough, the plants he grows are thriving in the intense heat and salty soil on the shores of the Dead Sea.
I believe that in the future it will become a medicine. Before it will be a medicine, it will be a nutraceutical for cosmetics. And before or after, it might serve as the first ingredient for the incense of the temple.
Ehrlich has 6 acres of Balm of Gilead trees so far, and another 5,000 plants ready to be planted.
Right now, I'm the only and the biggest Balm of Gilead farmer in the world.
The resin from the bark, the berries, and the leaves of the Balm of Gilead can all be used and each has a different fragrance and properties. Ehrlich also grows frankincense on his plantation.
This is my second baby after the Balm of Gilead. It started with the vision of bringing back the Balm of Gilead to the shores of the Dead Sea, but after a few years, I understood I have some very interesting plants on my collection, and now I have a team of plants that I want to make into products.
There are more than 20 varieties of frankincense, but this is the one from the Bible, and it's considered an endangered species.
This is the frankincense of the Holy Temple. There is no agriculture for this tree. This tree only grows wild in different countries in the Horn of Africa, and since there is such a demand for it, there is an overusing of the plant.
Ehrlich is also growing myrrh, and there may be a connection to the gifts the Magi brought Jesus at his birth.
Another way to introduce myself is as a Magi. You know the three Magi that brought Miriam presents? They gave her frankincense and myrrh and gold. Now there is a claim that the gold is the Balm of Gilead because it was more precious than gold. This is the diamond of the incense, the diamond of the medical plants.
Ehrlich, who describes himself as a man of faith but not religious, is also growing a number of other plants needed to make the incense for the temple. That has caught the attention of some religious Jews who would like to see a third temple built in Jerusalem.
I definitely didn't think that I was going to serve the temple, and I was surprised from the amount of temple fans that came to visit me. When Rabbi Ariel was here, I told him that I'd be more than happy to supply the incense for the temple, and I'll do my best to be ready with the incense till the temple will be here. But I told him I'm not going to build him a temple.
But despite his excitement over his team of plants, Ehrlich has also had some big challenges. His plantation is in biblical Judea, known to the world as the West Bank. And that has scared off an American company who partnered with Ehrlich for years. One reason, backlash from BDS, the anti-Israel boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement.
I'm sorry for this company
that surrendered to this wicked movement. But what can I do about it? I can only fight it by succeeding without them.
He's had to dismiss his Israeli and Palestinian workers and rely on volunteers like Kaneret and her friends, who spent a week here, among other things, pulling weeds.
If this is what we can do to help, this is what we could do to make the world better at the end, so this is our job.
The setback isn't stopping Ehrlich. His goal is to start a research and development center for medical plants that he hopes will benefit the area and the region, and as the Bible says, make the desert bloom. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Balm of Gilead Farm at the Dead Sea.
CBN Superbook is making inroads in Japan, recently introducing the animated Bible series to that Asian country. And Japanese parents and children, they are thrilled. Our Asia correspondent Lucille Toulousan has the story.
In Japan, Superbook festivals were held in the region of Kyushu, the area that was hit by a 7.3 magnitude earthquake in April. Kyushu Christ Disaster Relief Center head, Pastor Yogi Nakamura says Superbook is part of the trauma counseling for the children.
We wanted to bring hope to the children who are still recovering from trauma brought about by the earthquake. Many children here are still afraid. They can't sleep by themselves, so Superbook is a big encouragement to the kids.
Superbook has also stirred the churches towards strengthening their children's ministries. Many churches don't even have Sunday school. Jenny O is a missionary among the children. She was delighted with Superbook's The First Christmas episode, which was shown in the festival.
I think it gives them a very different perspective on Christmas. They don't know about Jesus. They don't know what the Christ part of Christmas is. So I think it really helps them to tell them what the true meaning of Christmas is in a way that they can understand.
These girls say they enjoyed watching Superbook, and they like the story about Jesus Christ.
Superbook can be an effective way of sharing the gospel in Japan. The children who watch it, when they grow up, even if they don't become Christian, they can look back to the values they have learned.
Lucille Toulousan, CBN News.
And it is time now for your Monday motivation. Here's a word to jumpstart your week. Always remember and never forget, you are operating from a place of victory. Your faith in Christ will cause you to rise above any trial. So don't be blinded by what you see in the physical. God is always bigger. That is going to do it for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. You can find more of our exclusive coverage of the issues you care most about at cbnnews.com. We'd love to hear what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can do it on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hope you'll join us again right here next time. Make this a marvelous Monday. We'll see you tomorrow.